Hello everyone and welcome to the third day of our APAC Summit. A very pleasant good afternoon to all of you. I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy in this light of worldwide pandemic we're all facing. Plug and Play's mission is to create the ultimate platform whereby the best minds and ideas can collaborate and accelerate innovation throughout the entire world. As such, we aim to bring together the best technology startups and companies together, accelerating over 1,500 startups per year in over 15 industry verticals, and introducing them to over 400 conglomerates worldwide. In the last 10 years, we've been able to grow this global network in about 20 countries in close to 40 cities so far. This year alone, we opened 5 new locations in North America, Turkey and Belgium in Europe, along with Morocco and South Africa. We also launched Osaka this year as our third city in Japan, and we're on our way to open Seoul during the first quarter of 2021. Our China operations continue to grow strong with the opening of 2 more locations in Nanjing and Wuhan, pairing up with our offices in Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen. In the midst of COVID-19, Plug and Play continues its goal to invest in the best startups worldwide. It's in our genes, and this is something I guess we're addicted to. One formula of success we have at Plug and Play is collaboration and leveraging on our global network. Utilizing this global presence, we are able to bring great value to our portfolio and network of startups by giving them heightened access to global markets. And we've been lucky enough this year to have 5 of our startups gain unicorn status, including Honey, which PayPal bought for $4 billion this year. I'm happy to share to our audience that Plug and Play now boasts of 12 unicorns. But I wish that we could have our first one in this part of the world. I truly believe that 2021 will be a great year for all of us. I am personally excited with the sectors of sustainability, food, and agriculture, both of which will start in Singapore and Thailand. The Alliance to Eliminate Plastic Waste program, which started in Silicon Valley, Paris, and Singapore, will now expand to Brazil, South Africa, and China next year. I also recently looked at the top 50 brands in the world and discovered that we currently work with about 20 of them. We still have a lot of work to do if we want to create this ultimate innovation platform. In conclusion, while advancements in technologies have been happening at unbelievable speed, I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of what is possible and likely to happen in the next few years. It is no exaggeration to say that technology and innovation are literally changing our lives and habits. To say the least, the future looks very exciting. We very much look forward to working with all of you, both startups and corporates, as we embark in this innovation journey. Thank you again for coming to our APAC Summit. Be well, be safe, and God bless you all.
Hello, everybody. Again, thank you again for joining our event for the food and agriculture. I am super excited about our program being launched in Thailand for our food and agriculture, covering Asia Pacific overall, and give you a little bit of insight about what is our goal for this program. Actually, everybody asks me why Thailand and why now? Well, the answer is very clear. Thailand is a major food exporter ranked in the world top 5 farm chemical importers. And of course, the digital agriculture market is set to grow by $6.2 billion in 2021. And Asia Pacific region being the fastest growing market in this segment. Thailand ranks among the top of the world's food producing countries in several food categories, including the rice, sugar, chicken, canned fish, and fruit. The reason that our platform is going to be so dynamic in this focus area, because we're going to touch on areas of farming all the way down to distributions. The food platform that we are planning to expand and starting the official launch in January of 2021 is going to bring together players from agriculture value chain to accelerate innovation adoptions among all of these companies. Goal is to maximize the food productions while increasing the sustainability and security of the food ecosystem. This is done through targeted and relevant introduction to a global network of corporate decision makers, government stakeholders, high-level VCs, and expert mentors. Our vision is to really make Thailand as epicenter of one of the best ecosystem for food innovations. And of course, connecting us and our location to the rest of our food program at Plug and Play across Europe, Silicon Valley, South America, and in Africa. Again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the event today and looking forward to hear all the pitches from our startups. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm here today to give you a talk about some of the technology that's starting to transform the food and agtech landscape. And I always like to start any talks like this by, first of all, establishing where we are in our agricultural development. And at this point, we're effectively on the cusp of our next major revolution in global agriculture, which is one of the reasons it's just such an exciting time to be involved in the sector, and one of the main reasons I ended up involved in it myself. And this digital revolution is going to be based on the assumption that literally everything involved in agriculture is going to get digitalized in some form or another. And what's also interesting about this particular agricultural revolution as compared to our previous ones that we illustrate here is this is the first agricultural revolution in human history that is not based on providing more food because we risk not having enough. We already have enough food to feed 10 billion people plus with today's production methodologies. What we're really trying to do with this agricultural revolution is to try and create an agricultural system that can give us a superabundance of food without destroying our planet in the process of doing so. So it's the first revolution in history where starvation is not the key problem we're trying to solve for. It's ecological sustainability and general sustainability is what we're trying to do. And because of that, the choices we're going to make as part of this agricultural revolution are going to have disproportionate impact because we're at an inflection point that is going to have profound impact on future generations of humanity. So having stated that, I'm just now going to get into giving you a rough overview of where we are in agriculture today before addressing some of the technologies that are going to help improve this situation. But the first thing to consider is, with this inflection point, what type of sustainability are we actually trying to create with our agricultural system? Because sustainability means very different things to different people. And for me, sustainability boils down to, is it something economically sustainable? In that, is it profitable for the farmer as well as being affordable to the person ultimately buying the product? Is it environmentally sustainable? In that, and you know, environmental sustainability itself can also mean a lot of different things. Often when people talk about environmental sustainability, they tend to focus on emissions, which is a big problem in terms of global warming. But we also have other tremendously important environmental sustainability issues like biodiversity issues, land use, pollution, and waste. And then finally, we increasingly have to consider social sustainability. So providing a food system that is healthy, providing a food system that is equitable, and providing a food system that ensures welfare for all stakeholders in that food system. Increasingly, moral attitudes are starting to be introduced to some of the sustainability demands we require. And we need to be really careful about how we weigh up these things, because in many ways, you can only have two of these sustainability aspects at any given time. So, for example, if you produce a system that is socially sustainable and environmentally sustainable, well, the chances are that's going to be really expensive. And as one of our farmers that work with my company have said, one of our customers has said to me before, it's very difficult to be green when you're in the red. And there's a lot of truth for that. Like, if you want social and environmental sustainability, someone has to pay for that. It's not just going to happen out of thin air. So a lot of people believe that our best route forward is trying to create systems that are economically sustainable and environmentally sustainable, because they're going to be the most near-term viable. And as we create an economic and environmentally sustainable ag system, then it perhaps makes more sense to approach the social sustainability issues. Now, most new technologies in agriculture, as I already said, tend to address two of the three axes on this sustainability triangle. So I'll reference this a little bit as I go on. So something else to bear in mind is often it's presented that traditional ag is something that is not really improving, that ag is the way it is and has been for a long time. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, when you're trying to create a new ag system or a new ag technology, you need to understand that the improvement in traditional ag is accelerating rapidly. So you're not trying to beat a static target, you're trying to beat a rapidly moving target. The chart on the left is showing the amount of milk per cow and the amount of cows used to produce that milk in US dairy over the last 50 years or so. And what we're showing here is that in the US, not the last 50 years, the last 100 years or so. And what we're showing is over that time period, we've halved the amount of cows we use to produce milk, and we've doubled the milk output. So, and that is still accelerating all the time. Equally, if you look at cereal production on the right, our ability to produce more food is rapidly outstripping our population growth index, while our land under cereal production hasn't really changed in over 50 years. There's also a big problem that we have at the moment where there's a lot of false information going out about agriculture. And a lot of this false information is very well intended. Some of it is less well intended, i.e. it's about selling you things under false pretenses. But we have a problem in agriculture that often when the public has a false belief, it's often more in the interest of the industry to cater to that than try to eradicate it. And I use this hint water as an example because this is super premium water that is being sold on the basis that it's vegan and has no trans fats or nuts, peanuts, soy, gluten, or preservatives. And I remind you now that we're talking about water. So people are paying a price premium to buy water that doesn't have stuff in it that shouldn't be in water anyway. And, you know, I just use this as a representation of some of the weird stuff we have going around in ag at the moment. And this is exacerbated by the fact that the average consumer has probably never been further from the farmer in history. So you have a lot of consumers trying to make good food choices on a sustainability basis when unfortunately they don't really know a lot about what sustainability on a farm actually looks like. So that's a challenge that we need to deal with as well. We also have this issue that's commonly talked about, which is uneven distribution of digitization. Agriculture is considered the least digitized major industry in the world. It's not necessarily a problem. In fact, it's also a source of much opportunity, as all of this, as I said previously, is inevitably going to have to get digitalized. COVID impact is actually been quite helpful in that regard. I've framed, and many people have framed COVID as the world's digital transformation officer, where it's accelerating trends that were already there, but are now becoming more necessary because of the risk of COVID disease transmission. And we've seen that in agriculture quite a bit. My own company, Cainthus, has seen quite a large uptick in interest in what we do, because we enable farmers to see what's going on in the dairy and what's going on with the labor on the dairy without necessarily having to be there. And e-commerce agricultural companies are also doing incredibly well through COVID-19 for pretty obvious reasons. We also have an issue with uneven distribution of best practices in agriculture. So using dairy as an example, the average global dairy cow produces 2,400 liters of milk per animal per year, but the US average dairy cow produces 10,500 of liters per milk per year, giving us dramatically lower emissions and general environmental impact versus the average cow. And in fact, if every cow in the world produced with the same level of productivity as a US dairy cow does, we'd only need 69 million cows globally. And the amount of improvement that gives us on a sustainability basis is just crazy. And we don't need any new technologies to do any of that. We just need to make sure every commercial dairy cow is managed under best practices. So again, pointing out that traditional ag has a lot of improvement from simply mapping best practices as opposed to necessarily applying any technology. And the same story is true about cereals. In fact, if you pick any agricultural product on the market, you can pretty much find this uneven distribution of best practices issues rampant throughout the industry. So having sort of given you a broad overview of what ag currently looks like today and some of the issues with it, I'm now going to go through some of the technologies that are starting to transform the landscape. And I'm going to start with my own company. So we're a computer vision company that have been in the news a lot for facial recognition with cows. We don't actually quite do facial recognition in a technical sense, though when I describe to people how it works, everyone always goes, oh, you're doing facial recognition. So we just use it and that's fine. But really what we're trying to do is to enable computers to monitor cows in the fashion that a well-trained stockman would be able to do it. And the reason we do that is to enable maximum efficiency and productivity and sustainability with the animals. So we've mapped our products along the 5 domains model of animal welfare in order to create a modular dairy product that enables dairy farmers to do more with less. And we've released a dairy nutrition product that tells you how efficiently the cows are feeding and how well your laborers are doing in terms of providing those cows with feed. And we just recently released our behavioral product. This is just a clip showing what it looks like here. So we are pretty much monitoring every cow in a dairy, and our largest single install is 10,000 cows. So on that farm in America, we're monitoring 10,000 cows in real time. And we're able to tell the farmer how they're doing in terms of feed efficiency. And with this Alice behavior product, we can tell them what their behavior is like, how much time in a 24-hour period each cow is spending lying down, eating, drinking, standing in the alley, or perching in the bed. And using those raw metrics, we can actually tell the farmer and other interested third parties how comfortable the cows are in that environment. So we've developed a cow comfort index, and due to increasing consumer concern around welfare issues with livestock, we do believe that it is going to get to a point eventually when perhaps you will be required to have a third-party validation system like ours to guarantee the welfare of the animals and the sustainability of the dairy, as well as ensuring best practices are applied. So this is a little example of showing how computer vision is impacting dairy. Computer vision is also having large impact in crop farming as well. I'm going to stick to some dairy examples, but the raw principles are true for all ag sectors. This is a company called Labby, and they're doing individual animal quality testing and traceability. They're an inline milking sensor that tells you the nutritional quality of the outputted milk. An equivalent process in crops would be analyzing the crops to tell you the nutritional quality of the crops, as well as providing traceability for them as well. And there are lots of companies pursuing that. This is another interesting one as well. This is the Lely orbiter system, which enables farmers to do their own on-farm pasteurization, homogenization, bottling, and branding. And this is interesting on a number of reasons. One, in a COVID environment, we've seen more consumers wanting to buy local and direct from the farm to shorten supply chains. Equally, rightly or wrongly, there's increasingly consumer suspicion about big ag companies and big farms, and they seem to want to buy from smaller farms. So technology like this that enables farmers to sell direct to the consumer on a branded basis is incredibly important. And again, there are crop equivalents of these coming out as well. But I give a dairy example here. Also, very much in the news is vertical farms. Vertical farms are interesting in a number of levels, but in terms of their actual commercial applications and sustainability impact, it's kind of questionable how much impact they can actually have, because with today's technology and over the next 10 years, maybe you're only ever going to be able to grow leafy greens in these things. So while they're interesting on a food security basis, and with all the stuff the likes of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are doing in space exploration, these are going to be interesting for that end of things. But in terms of feeding the world, they're only applicable to maybe crops that represent less than 10% of the global arable acreage. So interesting technology, worth keeping an eye on. But in terms of having large scale impact, perhaps not. CRISPR is also a really interesting technology. It's basically a technology that allows you to read and write DNA. There have been livestock applications of this, such as producing cows without horns, so the animals don't need to be dehorned. And equally, on a longer term basis, there's potential for things like vertical farms to become more useful by using genetically modified crops that are more suited to growing in that environment versus an outdoor field. And I should also mention plant burgers at the moment. Unfortunately, I have to be pretty blunt on this one and say I view plant burgers as little more than a marketing exercise. In my opinion, if you've a beef burger or a plant burger in front of you, the correct thing to do on both a moral or on both a health and environmental basis is to eat neither of them. And I view plant burgers as more of a greenwashing thing, where buying plant burgers makes the consumer feel good about themselves, that they're doing something for the environment. And, you know, there's lots of very clever marketing and celebrity endorsement and influencer support of plant burgers. But when you boil it down to the raw numbers and think, what are we actually doing with these things? We're using ultra processed ingredients to replace something that, you know, you shouldn't be eating a lot of anyway. Is that a good idea? Probably not. Is it making money at the moment? Yes. So great. But in terms of long-term future of ag impact, I don't think plant burgers have that much potential. Other interesting technologies, in terms of both human and animal health, are bacteriophage and mRNA next-gen health treatments. And some of the recent COVID vaccines that are really exciting are mRNA-based, and we'll also start seeing them coming into animal ag as antibiotics are reduced in livestock, and we'll see bacteriophage coming in there too. Now, where vertical farming gets really interesting is when you do it in the water, and 70% of the planet's land or of our globe's surface area is actually seawater. So farming the sea in a more multi-trophic fashion that minimizes environmental impact around the operation is an incredibly good idea. And we're starting to see lots of kelp farming initiatives and more advanced aquaculture in general, and daisy chaining all of these things together to make maximum use of inputs and minimum environmental impact is very important and interesting. Insects is something that has also been getting a lot of funding, and the reason insects are so important is because they're an example of a technology that can dramatically reduce waste. So we can feed insects plant waste, we can feed them raw human waste, raw animal waste, and they can safely and healthily convert that into feed that we can feed to animals and on a long enough time frame, perhaps even to humans. Although I appreciate there's a massive yuck factor that we have to deal with there on a social basis to get over that. But in general, for me, insects represent a technology that takes waste and turns it into food. One of the other few examples we have in that in traditional agriculture at the moment is cows. 87% of the cow's diet is mostly cellulose that is undigestible by humans, and we use cows to convert that into milk and beef. And equally enabling, like when we grow crops, we produce a lot of field waste. So like if you visualize a corn plant, humans eat the cob of corn and we feed the corn stover to cows. So if you eliminate cows from a human agricultural system, we're going to have a huge amount of cellulose and crop waste that we need to use for something. We currently use it to feed cows, to feed it to cows. Perhaps insects can improve on that, given that they've better feed efficiency, or they can become a complementary technology. But either way, using tools to turn waste into food is always going to be a good idea. The future of retail and technology approaching retail is also really interesting. I'm referencing an article here from the Cainta CEO, my colleague Aidan Connolly. If you look him up on LinkedIn, you can get this article called Scan, which is based on the future of food retail. And a lot of it is going into what technologies are impacting the supermarkets. Are supermarkets still part of our future? Are supermarkets going to change? If we have drones and autonomous delivery devices delivering straight to the consumer, do we still need supermarkets? How do they repurpose? So that's a really interesting area. And again, if you go and look up Aidan on Twitter or LinkedIn, you'll find this article, and it's a very good read. I also need to touch on single cell proteins. Single cell proteins are things like algae and yeast, where we put them into a biofermentation cylinder, we feed them sugars, and they then produce lots of food that we can feed to ourselves or feed to animals. Now, the reason this technology is interesting is because it takes a very small amount of land to produce a lot of food using this technology. However, that doesn't mean that this is a low environmental footprint. It depends on the feedstock that you're putting into it. So we're in a situation today where if we get 700 grams of waste cellulose, so again, a corn stover or wheat straw or something like that, and we feed it to a cow, we get a kilogram of milk, which is one of the best things you can put into a human body, out the other end of that cow. So the main barrier that single cell proteins have to overcome is having a feedstock and energy utilization rate that doesn't defeat the purposes of using it in the first place. So for example, if we have to feed single cell proteins sugar, then there's not a lot of point in them because the land area they use will end up being greater than alternative traditional ag technologies we could use to do that today with. But that being said, remains a very exciting technology area and something well worth keeping a look on. And I have a couple of some of the more notable single cell protein companies just listed there in the slide on the right. This brings me on to cell meat, which again, like on a 10, 20 year basis, cell meat is just fascinating and just has so much potential. And you also have companies trying to make things like cell milk and other things like that. But the reason this is so interesting along with the single cell proteins is because you can potentially produce food independent of environmental variables. So when we're growing traditional food, that tends to be determined on the seasons and getting rainfall and things like that. But these cellular meats can be scaled up or scaled down on demand and just have so much potential to feed growing populations adequately nutrition food. And again, while I don't like the plant burgers because they're heavily processed plants masquerading as something they can never be, this stuff is genuinely meat and is genuinely nutritionally equivalent to meat. Now, again, the problem we go back to on this is the feedstock. Again, we're feeding mostly waste foodstuffs that we can't eat to cows to produce beef. So if you can get a feedstock that is more efficient than feeding grass to beef and dairy cows, that's when this technology becomes seriously interesting on a commercial scaling basis. So just to conclude then on a number of takeaways that I hope I've gotten across over the course of this presentation. First of all, is that every aspect of agriculture will be digitized. And if you see a new technology that takes something that is currently done in an analog fashion and does it again in a digital fashion, that's a technology that's interesting. Also, if new technology applied to traditional agriculture can potentially have greater impact than new food technology. So, for example, again, it's going to be much, much easier to apply technology that makes an existing system that's already efficient even better than it is going to be trying to introduce an entirely new food technology entirely, like cellular meat, for example. The third point being the consumer has never been further from the farmer. And the reason I stress this one is because, as I said, we're at an inflection point. So the decisions we make today are going to have disproportionate impact. And a lot of those decisions are going to be driven by the consumer. And if the consumer is making those decisions from a point of ignorance and their cash dollars cause the industry to move in a certain fashion because of that, that has large potential for negative outcomes. And that's something we need to improve upon. Farmers and consumers need to start communicating with each other in a better fashion. As well, any new technology must address one or more of the sides of the sustainability triangle I presented in the past. If a new technology isn't making something more sustainable on some level, even if it's simply by increasing revenue or decreasing cost, then it's probably not going to be a particularly interesting technology and it will struggle to get adoption. And finally, I just ask all of you to beware of greenwashing tech. It is very easy for large companies to show investment in a particular area that makes you very excited about what may be popular in the future. But when you start digging into the hard technical details, it becomes obvious that these things are going to have limited long-term global impact. And again, vertical farming and plant burgers are probably two of the best examples I can give of that. If both of those technologies achieve widespread global adoption, it doesn't really change anything about our future food systems. So again, watch out for technologies that don't address any fundamental problems in our agricultural industry. So I hope that's been an informative talk, and I hope everybody learned something, and thank you very much for having me here today. Bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Anas Birudi and I'm the Business Development Manager for Plug and Play Thailand. For our inaugural food batch, we have selected startups with technology across the food value chain from farm to table. Bringing up our very first startup, I'd like to introduce to you Babylon Micro Farms. Based out of Charlottesville, United States, they are making sustainable food production accessible by empowering a network of decentralized urban farms.
Did you know that over 40% of fresh produce goes to landfill before it is consumed? Or by the time the produce reaches your plate, it could have traveled over 1,500 miles from anywhere around the world. Using hydroponics, we're able to grow crops using 90% less water than traditional methods, and a single microfarm can grow produce and save 6,000 gallons of water per year. As we look to build a sustainable future, there is a lot of unknown. But one thing we know for sure is that we have to find a more efficient way to grow food and eliminate the wasteful supply chain. We started Babylon with a simple mission: to help people grow food anywhere, wherever they are around the world. We're now able to use our platform to deliver a simple and engaging growing experience, allowing anyone to grow fresh produce at the push of a button. The technology we've developed reconnects people with their food, allowing them to grow fresh, healthy produce using less space, fewer resources, and reducing their impact on the environment. By growing healthy and sustainable food on-site and on-demand, we're giving organizations the power to take control of their supply of fresh produce, to create shared value for their communities and the environment. We know that vertical farming is just a small part of the solution. The platform we've created gives businesses the opportunity to be proactive, and together all of our micro farms will have a big impact.
Moving on to the next startup called Microtechnology, a food technology company based out of Denver, United States. They utilize fungi-based food processing platform to transform the flavor and value of agricultural products.
Good morning. My name is Pete Lubar. I'm co-founder and executive vice president of business development for Microtechnology. I focus on the Asia Pacific region, and I'm particularly happy to have an opportunity to speak to you today. Microtechnology is a Colorado-based company founded in 2013. We are a Series D company and recently closed a $40 million funding round in April of this past year, so we are not necessarily looking for money. We are fermentation experts, and if you went to our plant, we work with the mycelia of mushrooms. It looks very much like a beer factory. We take raw ingredients, we take them through an aqueous environment, and we grow different and unique ingredients for the food and beverage industry. We do have a very novel platform. We're able to create lots of different kinds of applications, including working with waste streams and different raw material. And as a result of our technology, we've become known as one of the 50 most interesting companies in the world in the food and beverage industry. We have 29 issued patents and 47 pending patents. Our facility is state-of-the-art. It's an 8,000 square meter facility, which also functions as our corporate headquarters here in Denver, Colorado. And you can see here that we have a great amount of steel. On the right-hand side, you can see where the fermentation process starts as we grow the mycelial biomass, and in these what we call 100-liter bioreactors, we take that through a seed train, and eventually our products end up in these 90,000-liter fermentation tanks, which are about 10 meters tall. We have 6 seed trains. We have the ability to create more fermentation than just about any company in the world at this point. We as a company focus on how we solve big issues in the food and beverage industry. One of those is the sugar epidemic, one is the salt epidemic, and the other thing we work on significantly is protein and nutrition. We have 2 commercial products today. We have announced a 3rd set of commercial products. Our products include Clear Taste, which is an organic bitter blocker, Pure Taste, which is a vegan protein, and we just announced adaptogenic mushrooms, the biomass, Cordyceps reishi, lion's mane, and chaga. As I mentioned, our platform is a fermentation platform. We can take vegetables or waste stream. We can ferment it with a variety of different mushroom types. We can take it through a downstream process, and eventually we end up with everything in powder form. Our very first product to commercialize was Clear Taste. It's an organic bitter blocker. It binds with receptors. It works in parts per million, and it works across a wide variety of applications. It's worked really well in beverages, particularly those with high-intensity sweeteners in it. It works to mitigate the flavors of other proteins like pea and rice protein. But there's a ton of applications that we use it for. Chocolate is one of those applications, and it's sold around the world. It is available in Thailand through FEMA from a regulatory standpoint, and a whole lot of other countries as well. Our other product is Pure Taste Protein. And this is really a vegan protein, and we taglined it plant-based without the plant taste. And what we're doing here is we're taking pea and rice protein, and we're putting it into a fermentation tank and taking it through that fermentation using shiitake mushroom as the fermentation agent. And over that couple of days that it goes through that fermentation process, we create a very unique protein that's very high in nutritional capability as well as functional capabilities. It does have, and primary responsibility of the shiitake is to provide a better taste and aroma than you would get from pea and rice. It is a complete protein with a perfect 1.0 PD-CAS score. It is about 80%, 78% protein on a dry weight basis. It holds water and oil better than other products in the market. As such, we can create juicier products because of that. And solubility is better than things that we compare it against as well. Some applications that you might consider, certainly meat analog has become a very popular one around the world, and it makes an absolutely delicious burger. We do make a texturized version of the protein, and that helps give the burger the right texture. We do also have a wide variety of dairy kinds of products, ice cream, yogurt, milk that is made with this product. We also see it being used in breads to change the glycemic load by adding more protein to breads, pancakes, waffles, that kind of product as well. So that is my quick pitch. Thank you very much for listening. You can reach me at Pete Lubar, pete@mycotechcorp.com. My telephone number 303-641-5749, and you can reach me via WhatsApp. Thank you once again for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Next, we have Commerce AI, a company based in Sunnyvale, United States, which provide artificial intelligence solution that sees, reads, and listens to consumer feedback at scale.
Hi, I'm Andy Pandekar, co-founder and CEO of Commerce AI. Commerce AI is a product intelligence platform. We're based in Plug and Play Sunnyvale, and we are very excited to be part of Plug and Play Thailand's food program. We are set out to understand all the consumer feedback data for different products in the world, from shampoos, toothpaste, to milk, consumer packaged goods. Every product has consumer feedback data that's generated online, and we use special natural language processing algorithms, special image processing algorithms to understand what that feedback means and offer that as a crisp intelligence to product brands and retailers. We started 4 years back as a joint development project with Walmart. Walmart was our first customer. Our team is from Stanford and MIT with PhDs. Our previous startup was based in San Francisco, but was acquired by Flipkart Group, and Flipkart was later acquired by Walmart. So we have some experience and some exposure to Southeast Asia market. 90% of today's data is unstructured data in the form of text, images, voice, and video. So how can you apply specific models designed for e-commerce and extract intelligence from that data? And that's what we do across different sources. So we gather data from different sources, we connect internal sources, and we give specific insights to brands. These are offered as a SaaS platform, but also API. Everybody benefits from this intelligence, right? From product teams to R&D to marketing and merchandising. Everybody benefits from understanding consumer feedback data at scale. We have lots of different customers, international customers. Many of them are large consumer product brands, but we also have small consumer product brands. Many use cases. The recent one, everybody is now moving online, especially with CPG market food companies going online. They want to understand this data. Coca-Cola is using our intelligence to build actual new products. Unilever is identifying gaps using our intelligence to build new products. Walmart is using our data to uplift their product catalog. So can they reflect the exact same language that consumers speak into their product catalogs? MyDia is actually building international products using our intelligence. USPS is testing new product ideas. What makes us unique is that we have ability to understand different languages and really operate at a higher scale and understand different nuances in e-commerce. We have hundreds of sources that we gather data from, and there's a lot more in our product demo. I'd love to show you our demo when we join the program. I'm Andy Pandarkar, and this is Commerce AI. Thank you.
Moving on, we have Pharmacy Hong Kong, a company that farms in your neighborhood. They enable people in the city to handpick living plants in our very smart urban farms.
Hello everyone, I'm Raymond, the co-founder and CEO of Pharmacy HK. We're an urban farming technology company with a vision of cutting down the distance between the farm and the people. The reason why we do this is because we found that 90% of our daily consumption of the vegetables in the urban are not coming from local farms. And it costs 17% of the carbon emission of the food logistics in the world. And worst of all, when they arrive in the supermarket and wet market, most of the vegetables are actually degraded for 45% because of the degradation. So here we are. We want to bring this smart indoor mobile farm to the center of the city and then to help people to grow things on site so that they can gain back the freshness, the safety, and also nutrient-rich vegetables. In this vending machine-sized mobile farm, we control all the points that we can do for the plants growing. For example, the temperature, the EC and pH for the water, and also the humidity. So with this, we can have a very good use case that you can see in this picture. It's actually the mobile farm that we are placing in one of the leading supermarkets in Thailand. So we can grow it on site, and then at the same time, we cut down the distance between the farm and save a lot of logistics, and at the same time, space and water as well. And because we grow it on site so that we don't need to use pesticides and also agrochemicals, because we already control the environment of the plants. And very good about that is because the plants are still living when we sell it, so that people can get it with the roots, with all the nutrients are all there. So we have zero nutrients degradation. This is very important during the COVID-19. And we can do this because we are in Hong Kong, and then why we do this in Thailand, because we already have a cloud-based automation capability, so that whenever we can place our mobile farm, we can track it right from our headquarters, and also understand the plants and the situation there, and then make adjustment right away online. And this is one of our signature projects in Thailand at the moment. And then we are actually rolling out, more supermarkets in Hong Kong. And then we're receiving a lot of inquiries from Canada, Dubai, and Singapore. So we would love to hope that to bring in an impact to the ASEAN as well. And at the same time, during the pilot one we have in Thailand, we receive a lot of positive feedback, not only from the customers, but also from the store managers, saying our plants are with the quality and the freshness and unparalleled, that kind of quality that we can find in the store as well. So here we are. Because we master the environment control for the plants growing, so we basically not only limited to the mobile farm machines, we also can do this kind of indoor farm. For example, the plants, the farm with the cafe, and then also with the hotels in the entrance. That is something that we do with the 5-star hotel in Hong Kong. And at the same time, we do this kind of mobile farming clubhouse too. So we have this kind of initiative to really bring back the farm to the people in different settings in the urban. So right now you can see we launched it early this year, and then we already received a lot of feedback and support from different customer sectors, including supermarkets, hotels and F&B chain, restaurants, and also schools as well. So going forward, we have a very aggressive plan to make an Asian story to bring this kind of very new concept of growing on-site, having this kind of safe and nutrient-rich plants in different parts of Asia. So this is our plan. And at the same time, we have all the expertise, including the vision, technology, development, and also operation to make it work in our team. Hope that you like our technology and hope that you like our plans, and then to bring back a very better and sustainable lifestyle to you all. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Biopsin, a company that transforms microbial diagnostics by enabling real-time detection of pathogen with gold standard sensitivity.
Every year, 600 million people fall ill and about 500,000 people die because of consuming contaminated food. Food safety has become a critical area of concern because of increasing instances of foodborne outbreaks globally. Singapore is considered as one of the safest countries in the world and a food paradise. Yet, in 2018 alone, there were 5 major instances of mass food poisoning leading to multiple hospitalizations and death. This is not just a health issue. The global economic burden is well over $100 billion. This is because food industries are using a century-old method to detect pathogens which requires trained professionals and a dedicated lab. But more importantly, this method takes 5 to 10 days to get the results. Since most food and beverages have low shelf life, the current industry practice is to ship the products immediately, relying on good manufacturing practices and in the hope that the products would be safe. This results in people consuming these products even before the microbial testing results are known, which leads to product recalls, disease outbreaks, and even loss of human lives. To ensure that people consume only safe and tested products, rapid detection of pathogens is necessary. The existing rapid methods for microbial detections are relatively faster, but they do not provide the gold standard limit of detection of the conventional methods. Therefore, these rapid tests are not adopted for microbial testing in food and account for less than 10% of all microbial tests. At Biopsin, we are developing a revolutionary biosensor device that would enable the industries to detect pathogens in minutes. And there's more. Our device can detect multiple pathogens in a single test with the same gold standard sensitivity of the conventional lab test. Our solution is also cost-effective, user-friendly, and does not necessitate a dedicated lab for the tests to be performed. The user just has to add in the food sample and all the other steps are automatically carried out by the device. In the end, the user gets quantitative results for the target pathogens. So how are we doing this? We have developed a small microfluidic slide which can trap even a single bacterial cell, and then we analyze those cells with a portable detector. Our technology is a game changer for F&B industries. It is the answer to preventing food recalls and disease outbreaks. For the first time, industries and corporations can determine the microbial quality of products even before shipping them out and be certain that consumers are using only safe and tested products. Similarly, government agencies can inspect and determine the microbial quality of the products quickly on the spot and save enormous time, labor, cost, and prevent outbreaks. We have a diverse team with the necessary interdisciplinary expertise working towards the product. My co-founder Amit has a decade of research experience working with industries and government agencies on their microbial safety and detection needs. I'm Sheetal. I have 6 years of research experience in microbial detection and interactions. We are funded by Entrepreneur First and SOSV, and we are also supported by Temasek Foundation. Food and beverage is just the beginning. Our solution can also be customized for microbial testing in agriculture, consumer goods, hospital, pharma, water, and all the other sectors wherever microbial testing is necessary. The global market for microbial detection is $12 billion and is growing at a healthy rate of 11%. This represents only the cost of consumables and does not include overhead costs, which is at least 4 to 12 times higher. Therefore, the actual spending on microbial testing is in the excess of $50 billion. The market has responded enthusiastically to Biopsin. 12 major F&B and FMCG companies are interested to run pilots with us. We will start with SFA, which is the Food Regulatory Authority in Singapore, and SATS, which is the Chief In-Flight Catering Service Provider for Changi Airport. Recently, we have also received a grant of 650,000 Singapore dollars from Temasek Foundation to develop our technology for Singapore market. With increasing incidences of disease outbreaks and advent of antimicrobial resistance, quick and gold standard microbial detection is not an option but a necessity. We envision that our technology will fundamentally change the way microbial detection is performed today and save millions of lives and hundreds of billions in dollars. If you are interested in knowing more about the future of microbial detection, please email us. We are Biopsin. Thank you.
For our next startup, we have Demudo, a platform facilitating collaborative commerce that provides supply chain visibility.
Hi, my name is Adrian, and I'm a founding member of Demudo. Farm gas emissions are increasing, and so is food waste. And now COVID-19 is tearing the global food trade apart. The real problem behind these symptoms is the lack of data visibility. And because food traders are data blind, they aren't making enough money, and worse, many are losing money. But we have a solution that is adopted by 10 customers in the past 18 months. It has given them tremendous visibility of their trade, and in some cases reduced their losses by 50% and increased price premiums by 30%. Now, this opportunity is massive, and we're just on the tip of the iceberg. The food industry is worth $4 trillion with a serviceable market of $22 billion. With our target, it is bigger and includes the $1.5 trillion trade finance gap, which is where our next stage of growth lies. More on that later. For now, let me explain how we solve the existing problems regarding the lack of data visibility. Our solution is affordable, deployable, and scalable. We target upstream players such as farmers, packers, and more. To gain visibility, we create digital identities of the produce using QR codes, digitize them using our IoT devices, and visualize the data on our platform. It's super affordable at only 0.5% more cost per container to the user. A small price to pay for up to 50% cost savings on every trade. Now, this 0.5% cost equates to $250 per container in revenues to us. And it gets substantial as many of our customers trade more than 1,000 containers annually. Our solutions are easily deployed. Digital IDs are added onto the existing labels, so it does not change current processes. Our IoT device named Decky can be rapidly flown to our customers. Its plug-and-play model fits into the packing lines with minimal setup and little disruption. All in, we can get this operational in 1 week. We're also poised to scale fast through our partners with industry veterans in the food baskets of the world. In August 2020, we signed a deal with the Jupiter Group, which makes us their exclusive technology provider. We will be deployed in their operations across 11 countries, digitizing a total of $600 million in gross merchandise value by FY21. And despite COVID-19, we've gained great traction. Our revenues are on track. We are also set to digitize approximately $2.6 billion in GMV by FY24. So what's next for us? we started out our journey to digitalize the global food trade because data was either absent or disconnected. Now we've begun analyzing this data to create actionable insights in the supply chain. But we have a greater vision, and that's to capitalize on the data and insights gathered so that we can close that $1.5 trillion trade finance gap with AI-driven financial services. So are you in? We're seeking strategic investors to raise $4 million to take us to that next level. And we'll be spending a bulk of our money on developing core technologies to power our next level and to capture more accounts like the Jupiter Group. Thank you very much, and I hope you can join us as we demystify global trade.
Moving on, we have Juice Innovate, a Bangkok-based startup that provides sugar reduction platform for juice industry using biotechnology.
Good morning, สวัสดีครับ I'm Sean, CEO and co-founder of Juice Innovate. We are Asia's first venture-backed food biotech startups based in Bangkok, Thailand. We are backed by finance startups, and actually we are alumni of Plug and Play Network. We joined Food and Beverage Accelerators program in Batch 4 in Sunnyvale, Silicon Valley 2 years ago. Our vision is to be a food biotech company that uses microbes to transform conventional foods into a better and healthier ones. And the first technology platform that we are developing is a natural juice without sugar and near zero calories. So let's see why we're doing this. If you take a look at the whole beverage category, no matter in the US or here in our Southeast Asia, you see that our categories here already have low sugar options, zero sugar options for the consumers, from carbonated soft drink to energy drinks. But you don't see anything from juice market, right? And this is $150 billion market around the globe where there are no low zero sugar options for consumers. And the problem is that even though it's a pure squeeze cold pressed juice, it still contains the same amount of sugar and calories as in a can of Coke. Consumers know that, and they are moving away from juice. And this trend is not only in the US or Europe, but right now, even in Asia, in China, in Thailand, in Southeast Asia, consumers are starting aware of this. And juice, as the world's third largest beverage categories, is dying. So we start to ask ourselves, what if we can make juice better? How can we do it? And what would it be like? And the answer is that nature has already gave us a powerful tool to solve this problem with the microbes, a tiny living organisms like this. To simplify the way our technology works is that we screen microbes and find the right microbes from thousands out there in the nature. And then we develop the process to control the microbes to break down sugar molecules inside the juice to make a zero sugar juice with the same nutrients and other flavors. And these are the technology platforms that we are developing, from strain development, in the way we screening and discovery the microbes from out there, from foods, from fruits, from plants, from thousands of them before select the right candidates. And then we optimize a proprietary fermentation process to control microbes to metabolize or break down sugar molecules inside the juice. And then we have the bioprocessing engineers to design the system to translating pilot scale into the commercial scale. And this is how we create a natural juice without sugar and near zero calories, and we brand it as Incredible Juice. And if you compare our Incredible Juice with a conventional juice, you can see that we can reduce sugar to near zero level. Calories is almost zero as well. But what we can maintain is the whole juice content and the key nutrients inside the juice. The sweetness level depends on the level of sugar reduction and depends on our clients. And the way we commercialize our technology is that we aim to build Incredible Juice as a sugar-free juice platforms, and working with all the key players here, from CPGs, food and beverage companies, to food retailers, to help them create the new products with lower sugar, lower calories with our zero sugar juice. Just like the way Beyond Meat using their plant-based meat, and working with McDonald's, Starbucks to help them create new products. And the way we build our Incredible Juice as ingredient platforms, we are not limit ourselves only in juice categories. And since juice is a base ingredients in multiple products categories, not only in beverage, but even confectionery as well. So we can expand our product concepts beyond juice, from energy drink, functional drinks, into even the sweets of confectionery markets. Briefly about the company, we founded 6 years ago, spin off on a research from a top university here in Thailand called Chulalongkorn University. And right now we employ full-time 20 scientists and engineers from PhD to fresh graduates with backgrounds in molecular biology, biomedical engineering, food science, chemical mechanical engineering. And even though we are based in Thailand in Asia, we have strong global presence. Over the past 5 years, we've been through so many accelerators and incubators programs. We did 2 in Silicon Valley, and for sure, 1 is plug and play. So we are looking for food and beverage brands and retailers or quick serve restaurants or any companies in food supply chain who are interested to use our incredible juice to build a better and healthier products for the consumers. And we're also looking for investors, no matter VC, CVC, or family offices in food and AgTech verticals, because we are hosting our $5 million Series A round in the next few weeks. So for more information, just reach out to us at incredible@juiceinnovate.com. So lastly, thank you so much, Plug and Play, for the invitation, and happy to be back in Plug and Play Network once again. So thank you everyone for listening. So we're happy to take all the questions.
Our next startup is Crust. The company reincarnates surplus ingredients into beers and other beverages.
Do you know how big our food waste problem really is? Millions of tons, and anywhere between 20 to 45% of food in airlines, food service, retail, and hotels are wasted yearly. Why the insane numbers? The reality is food waste is really hard to manage. Furthermore, from 2024 onwards, new regulations from NEA will require businesses that generate a lot of waste to treat it. This is where Crust comes in to solve the prevalence of food waste and provide value back to businesses in food service and retail. My name is Trevin Singh, and I'm the founder and CEO of Crust Group. Crust Group is a Singapore-based food tech startup that valorizes food loss into unique product lines for corporate partners in F&B and hotels. We create fun products like Crust beers and crop carbonated drinks from food loss. Since entering the market, we have saved 400 kg of food loss to produce about 6,500 liters of beer, reducing 9,000 kg of carbon emission. So just imagine what we could do once we expand our capacity and operations. So in our first month, MBS became our customer, and within 6 months, we've partnered with FairPrice Finals, Red Mart, Tiong Bahru Bakery, Edible Garden City, and more. Currently, we are working closely with Salad Stop, Dole, CP Group, Kellogg's, and Better Barista on proof of concepts. So how do we bring value to our corporate partners? Retailers, F&B chains, and hotels produce surplus food that is costly to lose, and even more costly to dispose of. We provide value by being their R&D partner, giving their food loss a new lease of life, and delivering value back. By partnering with us, they save cost, all while gaining a unique co-branded product, potential revenue of $8 to $12 per bottle, and a sustainable initiative with a story to tell. And we have a very win-win business model. Through our sustainable unique label, the SUL model, we act as the R&D platform to provide co-branded products for corporate partners. Our SUL model involves a 1 to 2 years contract with revenues of $30,000 to $200,000 per year per customer to take on logistics and R&D and product development. For each contract, we charge a setup fee of between $5,000 to $10,000 per year, an R&D fee of $3,000 per exclusive recipe, and on top of that, on an MOQ price per bottle as well. So at Crust Group, we have big plans to expand into new markets. We take a localized approach to each market instead of exporting products. We are already setting up Crust Japan in November this year and are working with Dole, Kellogg, CP Group to launch in Thailand. We are also forming a joint venture with a company in Korea, right? To launch Crust Korea next year as well. So each new market we enter will operate via a franchise model where Crust Group provides the R&D platform, branding and consulting. We set up a local entity with local partners, charging them a franchise fee of between $50,000 to $200,000, and on top of that, an annual royalty of 5%. The Crust Group core team is diverse and has a vast range of experiences and background. We are all extremely passionate about creating a more sustainable and unique circular economy. On top of that, we are currently raising our pre-seed round of $500,000 to expand our team, increase R&D capabilities, and launch in new markets. We have already raised half this amount and welcome you to join us on our mission to reduce global food loss by 1% by 2030. Thank you and happy to take any questions.
And next we have Ovo Meat, a cell-based fish and seafood products.
Hello everyone. Alpha Meats is the very first cultivated meat technology company of China. We are based in the Hong Kong Science Park. Fish is one of the most culturally versatile animal proteins we consume. However, there are multiple problems such as antibiotics, heavy metals, and microplastic. On the other hand, the number of fish we can catch from the ocean is reducing. Aquaculture has been helping with this problem. However, in the long run, we would need another option in order to cater for the growing demand. What if we can produce fish meat in a clean, safe, and very controlled environment, like on the right-hand side, without the need to catch, raise, or slaughter more animal, but at the same time yielding abundant and very stable supply of fish meat? We've been using bioprocesses to produce yogurt and beer, so why not meat? A.T. Kearney has projected that in a number of years, we will have multiple sources of meat or meat substitute. Cultivated meat will be a very major market segment. We're very pleased to be considered and selected by Cleantech Group as one of the company in APAC to solve these problems. We believe in doing well and doing good at the same time. The company is started by two co-founders, me, myself, Carrie Chen. I have over 20 years of commercial and project management experiences. Dr. Mao Chin has over 2 decades of scientific research experiences. He is also a successful bio-entrepreneur. In order to bring this technology to product and commercialization, we're working on these 4 core R&D areas. Among them, we have 3 patent-pending proprietary solutions to reduce the cost as well as to scale up our production. In the future, we would like to work with food and beverage company. We provide our material as branded ingredient such as fish maw, fish meat, and fish fillet. The selling point will be pollutant-free, marine-friendly, sourced to product traceable, GM-free, as well as customizable nutritional profile. We also use this technology to apply on some other applications such as functional proteins. In the past, we've been doing multiple tasting with different chefs and different tasters with very good feedback. We have also just launched our very first cultivated fish fillet burger. We would love to speak with you for strategic partnership as well as investment as we're closing our current rounds. It will help us to accelerate to our pilot production in 2021, as well as further cost reduction and IP development. Thank you very much.
And lastly, we have Turtle Tree Labs, a company that creates a technology to produce milk sustainability using their proprietary cell-based methods.
Hi everyone, my name is Feng Ru and I'm the CEO of Turtle Tree Labs. See, getting milk from cows is going to be a thing of the past. We're the first biotech company in the world that is actually able to use cell-based technology to create full milk. This is a game changer. Milk is by far the largest food segment in the world. We're talking about a $700 billion industry that will one day be using this technology to source raw milk. We know that cattle farming isn't sustainable and produces 37% of global methane emissions. Plant-based products are great, but don't have the full functionality of raw milk. We can harness the power of cell-based technology to create milk that is clean, fresh, and free from antibiotics. Being functional means being able to make cheese, butter, cream, or yogurt. So how does our technology work? We start with cells that we can get right from fresh milk. We multiply these cells, then put them in our special lactation media. The cells will then convert the lactation media into milk. What's really special is the cells are not consumed in the whole process. They're a factory that makes milk. If Turtle Tree disrupts just 5% of the global dairy market, it's the equivalent of saving all the water consumed by Singapore daily. It would mean we cut a significant 90 tons of greenhouse gases a day, and we can save land mass the size of 15 Singapores. 5% of the market feeds 390 million people. Imagine how much impact we can have as our technology becomes the industry standard. Using our licensing and royalty model, we will be working with existing dairy equipment manufacturers on the bioreactors and equipment. Our team is working with dairy producers and consumer brands to co-develop products for consumers. Like the Intel Insight model, we can envision our logo on every dairy product globally. We started in January 2019 with several scientists and filed our patents. Fast forward through 2020, we've now raised our seed funding and begun customer engagement with major brands that account for 22% of the global dairy market. Our focus today is on scaling up and manufacturing capabilities. Our executive team consists of myself, Max, our chief strategist, and Dr. John, our CIO. The entire team has grown significantly to over 20, many of them top scientists. As pioneers in this tech, we can produce milk from so many mammals like goats, sheep, camels, and so much more. One of the biggest interests we've seen from industry is our work on human milk because it has the potential to transform the entire infant nutrition industry. We know that food security is an issue in many parts of the world. Turtle Tree will be a major part of this solution. Thank you.
If you would like to find out more about our startup, please approach us from Plug and Play, and we will be more than happy to connect you.